day, when the first settlers came to Iceland, it was more or less, it was in 874 was the first settlement of Iceland. So it's not a very long time ago. Iceland is actually like the youngest piece of land on Earth, like geologically speaking, but also it's been one of the latest places to be inhabited. So yeah, the first settlers came. They were like old Norwegian people, like Vikings, if you want to call them like that. And when they came here, they were actually their religion was I lost it. They were pagans. They were okay. I'm a bit rusty, guys. You have to understand me because this is my first tour of the season. So I hope I do it. But yeah, they were pagans. So they liked the gods like Frey and Freya and Thor and Odin. You know, all of these people that now we know because of the Marvel movies. But back in the day, they were real gods and they were beloved by these people. So that was the first religion in Iceland. But in Europe, in the same time, Christianity was taking more and more power. So then few people started becoming Christians here in Iceland too, and at some point there was a bit of a friction between the two groups. Also, like in Europe, they were pressuring, like, okay, it's time for you to become Christians, and there was a bit of trouble, like what do we do, what we should do. So maybe you know or not, I will tell you then, that in Iceland they had the first parliament in the world, or at least that's what they say, okay? And it was called the Alþingi. So probably if you go to the south later, you will go to the place where the parliament was settled. And in this Alþingi they would all reunite. You know, in Iceland back in the day, they would it would be like clans. You know, different families. They would live in different places, and there in the Alþingi they would reunite the chiefs of each clan. Sort of, they would reunite and talk about the big decisions, no? What to do with the country, how to act with everything. And then they reunited to talk about the future relationship religion in Iceland. And they said, okay, should we become Christians or should we stay pagans? And I don't know, they didn't know what to do, honestly. There was a really 50-50. So then this man Thorkir that I talked about already, that lived over here, he was a very wise man. And they said, okay, Thorkir, so you are gonna be the one to take the decision whether we will become Christians or we will stay pagans. So Thorkir was like, okay, thanks guys, I will think about it. And he thought about it, thinking, and he came with one solution. And it was pretty smart. So he said, alright, we will become Christians, but under one condition. And the condition was that the pagans could still practice their religion in the dark, you know, in their homes. So in a way it was like, a concession to both of them. So officially they all became Christians, but in the houses people could do basically whatever they wanted. So it was perfect and there was no war and it was amazing, you know, it was a very good solution. And this one Thorkir, he was the chief of his community over here in the Lake Jökulsvatn. And the chief back in the day, it was called a Wodi. And the Wodi was both the chief in a, like a political way and also in a religious way. So he said, okay, I just decided we should become Christians. So I'm gonna be also like reasonable with the decision. I'm gonna prove that also myself I become a Christian. So he came to the closest waterfall, which was this one over here. We can see the splash over there in the right. And he took like the statues of the old gods, the idols of the gods, and he threw them in the waterfall in a very big performance. And then the waterfall became the waterfall of the gods. And that's how we know it nowadays. That's what the legend told, at least. And that's gonna be our last stop. So now we can see that there's quite a lot of people. That's why we are skipping it.